Hey friends, Mario Cavallo here. It's Mr. Ma's China Adventures. I gotta tell you, I admit, and no doubt about it, I have not, and it's been a few weeks since I have posted a video specifically on my YouTube channel, especially specifically about China, anything that has to do with an update on China. And boy, do I got something on my mind. I mean, with respect to China, nothing has changed. China remains the largest, safe, stable, successful, and capable country on the planet, and the Western world continues freaking out about it. They want you to believe everything except the exact truth that I just told you. No, they want you to believe the exact opposite. For example, a country where 56 minorities, including Uyghurs, they're all minorities. Uyghurs is one of like 56 minorities in China. And all of them receive preferential policies to support them, right? Free education, healthcare, um, just all kinds of benefits. Which, for example, if you're in the province of Xinjiang, you find everywhere you find street signs in the Uyghur language and in Chinese language. And in all the school system, it's bilingual. They teach the local Uyghur language. First, they give you a base in Chinese so that you can be an active and meaningful participant in society. You do happen to live in China, but they also teach bilingual, your native language, in the public school, which is, again, free. But no, China's committing genocide. I mean, a word that is associated with the most horrible kind of things, that like the kind of thing that makes a human being want to cringe when you hear the. I mean, what are the words that make you think of the most horrible affronts that human beings can accomplish against one another? Horrifying. I mean, in the war, Japanese in Nanjing with their rifles with bayonets on the end, stabbing pregnant women and gutting their wombs and the babies, right? I mean, just the most disgusting things, right? Right. Killing Jews in gas chambers, genocide. And you're supposed to believe, after I just finished telling you, Uyghurs' lives in Xinjiang and the lives of minorities have preferential policies benefiting and supporting them, but you're supposed to believe that China is engaged in horrible, evil human rights abuses, committing genocide against the Uyghurs. I mean, to every person who says such things, you should know what that is. Okay. Let's go, Brandon. And it's not just Biden. So this is very frustrating. It's been frustrating to me for 20 years because the person who invited me here to China 22 years ago from Chongqing, my dear friend, Mr. Lee Frank, back in Los Angeles, he told me this. He said, Mario, everything you think everything you think you know about China, and this was in 1999, he said, just forget about it. None of it's true. And I arrived here, and sure enough, none of it's true. And here we are 22 years later, and the political spewing of lies and nonsense is even worse. Which leads me to today's topic. Today's topic specifically is exactly about the China's COVID-19 prevention policy, the most controversial and extremely successful policy on planet Earth. Okay. Once again, they want to portray to you that China doing this is an affront to the human rights of the currently, it's all about the people in Xi'an. Oh, their lives are being ruined. You can see the human rights abuses. They're being forced into quarantine. I don't know. I mean, you tell me, okay? You tell me, all right? There aren't 850,000 deaths out of a population of 320 million In one country, that would be the United States. Okay. Now, how violated do those people feel? And all of their, say, for every person who dies unexpectedly in a pandemic, because of a pandemic, whatever, for whatever reason, okay, how many people are affected? Like their lives are devastated. How many fathers and mothers, families, happy families, and mom and dad are dead from COVID? Uh, how many of those people's lives feel miserable and rotten, and their quote rights to a good and a life of well-being were taken away by their incompetent government? 850, so that's 850,000 who died, plus say 5 people in that person's life, the person's husband or wife, their kids, okay, other best friends, their lives get turned upside. Folks, when someone dies, your life gets turned upside down. Your life as you know it, most of the time, comes to an end. Okay, you end up, selling all your shit and moving away and starting over fresh somewhere else, or whatever. Okay, it's emotionally wrenching. Okay. Now, I don't actually think that death is that horrible a thing. Yes, you miss the person, but I'm able to see it philosophically as part of life as well. But for a lot of people, they can't even handle it that well. I mean, they really freak out. It ruins their lives. Okay. So what about that? What about protecting a million people from that? Isn't that worth something? Okay. And so the other thought that I had is, so far worldwide, beyond the United States, what do we got? We got about 2 million deaths, I think, so far. We'll probably, I don't remember, is it 2 million, 3 million, 5 million? I didn't check before I started the live stream. It's something over 2 million. So listen to me. That's in the modern age. I'd like you to imagine if we were having this pandemic with 9 billion people on the planet. I'd like you to imagine if we were having this pandemic 120 years ago, before 1900, before modern medicine, before, oh, there we go, before we were all walking around with little alcohol wipes in little lovely little sealed pouches in our pockets, which you can just whip it out and disinfect everything around us. Disinfect the mobile phone. Yeah, there's my mobile phone. Disinfect it. You know, wiping things, buttons. People didn't even know that germs spread and cause death before. They didn't even know how that works. Okay. So imagine if this pandemic, as it is, hit us 100 plus years ago, pre 1900. In 1900, the average life expectancy was 47 years. Did you know that? We're in 2020. It's only 2022. We're only 122 years later. Previous to that, mankind's history is what, 10,000 years of modern man? Do you realize, you see how short the time frame is? And so if this pandemic had hit us in, say, 1870, and we have previous pandemics. You've got the Black Plague hit the Europe in the 1300s. How many died? 30 million? But what was the population back then? It was like 300 million. I don't know. I'm guessing. I'm just saying that it was a lot of people died. Okay, so it wouldn't be 2 million deaths, 800,000 deaths out of 9 billion across the world. In the United States, 320 million. 2 million or 3 million deaths so far in a population of 9 billion. It's still tiny, but it's still too many. But if this was pre-medical knowledge, pre-medical technology and healthcare technology times, and just general knowledge about germs and things to be healthier, okay, wouldn't be 2 million or 3 million or 5 million. It would be 20 million easily. Might even be, out of a population of 200 million by now, out of a population of 9 billion across the world, by now, probably a couple of 100 million would have already be dead. Not just a couple of million. Everybody's freaking out because just a couple of million are dead. But it's still so much more than the annual flu. It's 10 times more than the annual flu, which is typically worldwide, kills a couple 100,000 people. In the United States, per every year, kills somewhere between 30 and 60, 70, 80,000 people per year. The annual flu Okay. And a lot of times, yes, that's people who are already older and sick, and then you get the flu, you get pneumonia, and it knocks you down. You're out, you're done, you're dead. It takes you away. You go to heaven. Okay. So these are the realities. Okay. These are nothing to do with China. These are the realities. But now I want to talk to you about China. Okay. And I wrote an essay, and I'm going to read through it. All right. I'm going to read through it, and I'm going to ad lib it a little bit. I uh, won't tell you right now who I wrote it for because it's going to get published next week, but it hasn't been published yet. Okay. A newspaper. I've thought quite a lot lately about war. Okay. Its misery, its sacrifice, its purpose. I remember about 2 years earlier when Xi Jinping called on the country of China's leadership and people to be on a war footing. I thought to myself, oh boy. After 40 years of rising into prosperity, to become what is now supposedly the second most powerful and influential country on the planet, actually, China is now the first most important and influential country on the planet. If the world didn't have China right now, you have no idea how much worse shape you'd be in. But anyway, okay, so it's number two behind the United States. Fine. Okay. But I thought to myself, oh boy, after 40 years of China rising into prosperity and importance on the planet without ever being involved in a war, that's 40 years rising into prosperity at nobody else's expense as a war. Okay. Pretty good. Is China going to finally start a war? Well, of course, that was not the message at all that Xi Jinping was saying, as the world soon discovered the mental and societal state of focus and action on the front line China was capable of to stop an enemy, stop it dead in its tracks for the last 2 years, like no other country has done. For 1.4 billion people, that's quite an accomplishment. Where's the thanks? Where's the gratitude? Where's the admiration for the model that China has shown the world? Oh, gee, that's not happening. Why? Hmm. And this enemy, of course, was the COVID-19 pandemic, which is still going on. Now, we can look back at the beginning of the pandemic and remember what should never, ever be forgotten. Now, I'm going back here to when I wrote my article, Something's Not Right Here, folks, on LinkedIn. Go read it again. If you haven't read it yet, go read it. LinkedIn, Something's Not Right Here, folks. That's my article, which currently stands at 1.965 million views, went viral all over the world. I wrote it on February 5th, in the middle of our sacrificial lockdown to protect the rest of the world, okay, which the rest of the world squandered. I'll get to that later. I'm saying it. We can look back at the beginning of the pandemic, what I just said, okay, end of January, beginning of February, when China locked down and gave the world 6 weeks buffer time to prepare, to react, to respond, which was squandered. And we can remember what should not ever be forgotten, how China did that. None of you think about this. A front line of 30,000 healthcare workers, nurses, doctors, etc., from all over the country made their way at high personal risk directly to the city of Wuhan, where a severe outbreak was surprisingly taking place. And medical doctors had finally taken the time to identify a previously unknown virus causing severe symptoms. Now, hang on a minute. Think about what I just said. The outbreak first occurred in Wuhan, and doctors discovered what it was. No, that is not what I just said. What I just said was doctors who made their way, 30,000 doctors who made their way from all over the country to the city of Wuhan, where a severe outbreak was taking place. I did not say it was the first outbreak in the world. And as we now know, if you listen to any one sentence I say in this live stream, listen to this one. As we now know, with the extensive research done in the 2 years since the pandemic was identified in February of 2020 in Wuhan, Organizations like the United States CDC and NIH, that's the United States National Institute of Health, they confirmed by their own independent research, theirs, not China's, that this nasty virus was already present in the United States several months before it was finally detected by the medical researchers when the outbreak hit Wuhan, however it got there, when the outbreak reached their city. That's as a result of the extensive research done by the United States health organizations in the time since. These are the facts, not supposition, not rhetoric, not my idea, and not a conspiracy theory or anything like that. Okay. Ponder that for a moment. I'm going to take a moment and check my comments over here because I realize I'm doing the live stream. Some people have joined. Kevin, good evening. Duncan, how are you? Yes. You know, I that good visual new camera. You're going to laugh about this. From Fernando, I got Fernando upgraded, and so I got from Fernando his previous Canon 200D DSLR, which is a wonderful DSLR 35 millimeter camera. It's got an 18 to 130 millimeter lens. I think it's 18 to 130 or something like that. Nice lens. Just a beautiful piece of kit, and I love it. And I could use it to hook up here as my webcam. And that's what you think. Oh yeah, this looks really good right now. That's not what I'm using. Actually, that, as terrific as that is, I'm just using a HD webcam. Is it Logitech? I think it's Logitech. It's a really good HD webcam. So I just like to keep things as simple as possible. If the video quality is excellent while I'm doing this live stream and working on my HD webcam, I've got it set. I've got my square here like this. I think it's looking pretty good. It's good enough. I know I've had issues with delivering to all of you high quality audio and video. I apologize. Okay, let me continue. Yeah, it's an upgrade because it's just a webcam, but it's a good webcam, I guess. So let me move on to this. As I just said, US CDC and NIH confirmed by their own research that this nasty virus was already present in the United States several months before it was finally detected by the medical researchers in Wuhan when the outbreak reached their city. And they were the first ones to take the time to say, oh, gee, we got this nasty virus. Maybe we should identify it. I mean, they did the work, and instead of being thanked, oh, no, 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 no. As quickly as they could identify what this unknown virus was and its characteristics, those Chinese scientists, the ones in Wuhan, were communicating day by day with the scientists of the rest of the world's major countries. Yes, they were. We know that because all you have to do is listen to and read the follow-up report by the WHO, clearly identifying who spoke to what, who, and when. The CDC in China was in direct contact. I said it 3 times, so I hope you heard it, with the CDC United States. Okay. Right up through and to including January 1st. And on January 2nd, CDC Director Redfield himself was on the phone with the CDC China. Okay. He said that in congressional testimony. Okay. So the teams of international medical researchers who needed to know about this pandemic were on the horn throughout the time that the Chinese doctors were the first ones, the front line, trying to figure out what the hell was going on with this nasty virus, which was causing this nasty, strange pneumonia, if you remember, okay? Shutting people's lungs down, basically, and wreaking all kinds of other havoc in people's bodies. All right. So, yet, what was the thanks that China received for those scientists being the first to identify the virus? Faster than ever before, and for sending 30,000 healthcare workers there to create a massive front line. Faster than ever before in sharing the virus genome. The virus genome was up online in like 10 days, shared with the world. That never happened before. Dr. Bruce Aylward at the WHO press conference afterwards said that. He said, It's incredible what the Chinese did. It's incredible how fast they did it. And for that, the man was condemned by the politicians. And it's continuing to this day. It's disgusting. I mean, I want to spit. That's how disgusting it is. All the political bastards that are out there and media people. Shame on you. You're creating divisiveness and hate and in the world. That's what you're doing. You're accomplishing nothing to take care of and help people, which is what the world needs now. And that's the one thing the Chinese government remains focused on doing. And I know it because I live here. I've had a normal life for the last 2 years. Have you? No, because you don't live inside China. I've lived in a country inside China. I've lived in a city, Shenyang, 8 million people with my wife, my kid, all my friends, everybody that we know, friends, colleagues. None of us have spent our days worrying about the virus. You know why? Because there ain't any cases in our city. And that's been the case all over China. That's been our approach. Have you had that luxury and benefit and freedom? I don't think so. You see? For this, you condemn China? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? So, what was the thanks that China received for the scientists being the first to identify the virus, for sharing the virus genome with the international scientific community faster than ever before, for sending 30,000 healthcare workers there to Wuhan to create a massive front line of protection for the rest of the world, which gave the rest of the world a 6-week buffer? We locked down to protect your asses. Do you understand that? The entire country of China, out my window right there and there is modern China. Giant shopping center, Olympic Stadium, another giant shopping center, 8 lanes of road going down Qingyan Road, 8 lanes of road over there, modern city all around me. Everything, the entire country, there was no cars on those roads that I see every day. The country was shut down. We all stayed home, completely shut down. The only thing that I did with my boy in this room for 6 freaking weeks to protect your asses, to give you a chance, a 6-week buffer to prepare for when the pandemic might come, okay, was the frontline war that we did for you, which you squandered. We were there to create a massive front line of protection for the rest of the world. It was no thanks at all that we got for it, and a buffer window of time for the rest of the world to prepare itself that was squandered by Western world's leaders, acting as no more than hollow politicians and plutocrats, more concerned with economics and elections than people's lives. This is what I'm saying all along. Okay, you want to have recently what was the recent arguments about China being whether or not China was a democracy? Okay, it's a government run for the people. Okay. Is it run by the people? Well, yeah, people run it, don't they? Like government people are people too. CPC members, 90 million of them, okay, they're nice people. It's a political party. Their commitment is to the best of what they can do for the society of China. That's what they do. That's what they do. Okay. They're like Democrats and Republicans. Could you imagine if China said, oh, Democrats are not allowed to get visas. We're going to scrutinize visas from Democrats who want to come visit China more than anybody else. That's what the United States did during all this pandemic stuff. They said, oh, if you're a CPC member, you will be subject to greater scrutiny before we allow you to come visit our country. So all Democrats and hello, landing on the plane in Shanghai. Hello, welcome, welcome everyone. Follow the sign. Democrats to the left, Republicans to the right. Can you imagine if China did that to Democrats and Republicans on the basis of political party? This is the state of affairs in the United States. This is the idiots. This is these idiots that you ruined the country that my Italian family immigrated to. America. The dream, the wonderful place, and you people screwed it up. I'm heartbroken. My mother's heartbroken. My father's rolling in his grave, along with my uncles and my aunts and our grandparents. 2 years onward, nothing much has changed with regard to how malign politicians in the West continue to spew lies about China's COVID-19 response, most recently with respect to several Omicron outbreaks which have finally arrived on the mainland. Okay. The worst outbreak being in Xi'an, that's the city with the terracotta warriors, and without a doubt, the worst outbreak hit there. And that news is shared with you like it's a disaster. You have 1 million cases a day in the United States. Xi'an has 200, and then I think the total number of cases in Xi'an, I could look it up real quick in China Daily, hit like maybe 1,200 or 2,100 or something like that. That's a lot of cases. But do you hear what I just said? For China, that's a lot of cases. Okay. For the rest of the world, that's like a tiny little thimbleful of cases. It's nothing. Okay. Because the front line of war is there to protect everybody else. Think about that for a second. Right. The worst outbreak currently being here in Xi'an, and there's several others happening right now. There's a few 20 now cases in Tianjin, a couple cases in Dalian, a couple cases in Shanghai, a couple cases somewhere else I can't remember. There's like 7, 8, 10 places now. This is what's happening here in China. Okay, so what's the response? Okay, the people of that city are the front line, protecting everybody else. Isn't that what the front line in a war is? Isn't that what it is? The people of that city are being inconvenienced. Yeah, well, the whole country. We were 1.4 billion. We were all in lockdown together. I told you the whole country was shut down. We were 1.4 billion people in a lockdown being inconvenienced to try and protect your asses, the rest of the world, which you squandered. Okay, so I did it. Do you think it's pleasant? I was going a little bit mental being stuck in my house for like 6 weeks with my boy. Okay, this is very difficult. Sure, the people in Xi'an were being inconvenienced. Yeah. Okay, I'm sure that a few hundred and even a few thousand people out of the 10 million people of Xi'an were acting to protect the other 1.4 billion people of China. Yes, they made a sacrifice. I absolutely get that, see that, feel bad about that. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? Isn't it a city of 10 million acting as a frontline war which exists to protect the other 1.4 billion people in the rest of the country? Isn't that why, over the past 2 years, while virtually the entire rest of the world has been fully exposed to the virus, I'm living in a country zero exposed to the virus, or 99.9% not exposed to the virus. I can't say zero. Okay. My family and everyone I know here in China have been going about our daily lives normally. The joy of the luxury of that freedom, you have no idea. And you literally have no idea. Like you really have no idea. And yet, China is being lambasted and clobbered as the evil regime in all Western newspapers, CNN, Wall Street Journal, New York Times, all of them. You deserve no less. You deserve no less. It's disgusting what you're doing. I read it over and over again. Why do you think I haven't been posting all these political videos? I can't take it mentally. I only can do it a little bit now. You haven't had me post political for a while. Okay. I made a conscious decision to back off. Now I will all post because this is important what I'm saying to you. And I will. Okay. I'm still doing it, but not as often, because I'm spending the majority of my time focused on the amazing positive stories and brands, Mr. Ma's China Adventures. I've been here 22 years. I got nothing but amazing, positive, wonderful stories to share. Okay, my new Tai Long Lean ice wine, the greatest ice wine, award-winning ice wine in the world, the best ice wine in China. I'm partnered up with them. I think that's fantastic. They're right here in Liaoning province. I'm involved in a wine vineyard that makes me smile, makes me happy. It's a positive, wonderful story about things that are happening in China. I'm not going to spend more than maybe 10% at the most of my time on all this negative, dark crap that these monsters are subjecting the world to, with all this political stuff. Okay. So that's an explanation. So now, I'm continuing with what I wrote. I have to ask myself how badly I feel about the few hundreds of people or even few thousands of people in Xi'an, out of 10 million people in Xi'an, who have definitely felt their lives substantially inconvenienced. They have. There's no doubt about it. If it were Shenyang, where I am, my wife's hometown, where we live, then would it be all of us acting as the front line? Wouldn't it? Yeah, it would be. Would I like it and would I wish to avoid it? You bet. Who wouldn't? Okay. But this is philosophy. If fate comes and stands directly in front of any person on earth, if, excuse the reference if you're not religious, if this is what God puts in front of you, this is what God puts in front of you. It cannot be avoided. This is life. There's only so much we can control. Today, if life brings us an extra measure of loss, inconvenience, pain, and suffering, we must bear it. That's it. Today, if life will bring us an extra measure of goodness, sweetness, love, riches, and kindness, we also accept it and recognize it. Hopefully, we do so with humility, knowing that others have sacrificed throughout history, throughout the history of the world, in order for us to have the freedom and blessings that we have today. And for me, that's here in China. And it's freedom and blessings that you don't have. And you're being told that China's the enemy and the evil regime. I mean, it's just sick. It's sick. Thus, China's COVID-19 response shows us the duality of life as modern man faces a modern pandemic. It includes, on one side, the painful realities we face, while also showing us, which is humankind, it's not a China thing, while also showing us how China has, in fact, been a blessing to the world, showing the world the greatest model of effective governance, along with the broad cooperation and satisfaction of its citizens ever witnessed on planet Earth. That's what we have right now. That is why I don't hesitate for a moment when I say, once again, what I say about China is now the largest, safe, stable, successful, and capable country on the planet. It is not China's fault other countries are not capable of the same, is it? And that's it. That's my message that I had to share with all of you today. I'm going to check how we doing here in our group. Yeah. Hey guys, Kevin, Showtime for the people. Yeah, you're like, thank you guys. Duncan, there you are. You still there? You looked the word took. Yeah, right. I mean, this is the problem. Like saying, mate, you took the words out of my mouth. This is the problem, is that all of these things are so obvious. The things that I'm saying. All right. When I'm speaking emotionally, right? And so you say, oh, he's speaking, emotionally, rhetorically. But no, I'm not, because that's emotion and expression. In Chinese, we call biao da, right? Expressing yourself, right? But everything I've said is rooted in what's evidently observably known. So none of it is my opinion. It's what's evidently observably happening. Okay. So this is a very important root to which I've always had in my mind in quote, the work that I do as a voice on China. Yeah, right. I know. It's a disaster. No, guys, I know it's an absolute disaster. God bless everyone. That's it. Mr. Ma's China Adventures. I am Mr. Mario Cavallo here. This was a message I felt very strongly to share with you about China's incredible and amazing COVID-19 policy. I'm going to leave it at that. Please do share this video. I appreciate it very, very much. We'll see you soon. God bless. Take care. God bless all of you. Be safe. Be wise. Don't let yourself listen to all the crap that's being spewed out there. Take care of your families and your loved ones. See everybody. Bye-bye.